Stand. Yes, sir. Okay. I can dance better if the mic's. Whoa, that thing is loud. Yeah. Yeah. We want to welcome you to this year's program. And first thing I want to do, I want to have everyone give a hand to our jazz band. We will start with the opening prayer by Rick Ellenberger, chaplain of the Parker County American Legion Post 163.
Would bow with me in prayer. O God, eternal Father and everlasting King of heaven and earth, we render you acknowledgement of your supreme dominion over us and gratitude for your paternal solicitude and watchfulness. As we gather here in humble recognition of your divine providence, we beseech you to usher into our world of confusion and doubt the peace and tranquility which alone can come from you. Bless and protect our nation. Be merciful to our honored dead, the memory of whose valor, courage, and heroism inspire us to noble action and to eternal vigilance in the preservation of our priceless liberty and our inalienable rights to enduring happiness. Guide and direct our minds to a thorough understanding of our duties to you, to our country, to one another. Awaken in our hearts the desire and the will to accomplish the ideals for which this nation exists, so that out of our determination and endeavor there may emerge a better world. A world founded upon faith and understanding, a world dedicated to preserving the individual rights and dignity of man, a world of tolerance and justice, a world intent on loving and serving you, our Lord and Master. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it. Now I would like for Brent Baker to come and welcome you.
Thank you, Ralph. Thank you for being here, everyone. I want to thank you for taking your time to be here on a cold November morning. I want to thank Ralph and Tammy from our Veterans Office for putting, would you please give them a hand, Ralph and Tammy from our Veterans Office? Just a couple of remarks from Weatherford College. You know, it doesn't take much to walk around this campus and realize how important the veterans of our armed services have been to this college. You walk into our library and you see a portrait of General William Hood Simpson, who was one of the top generals in World War II, commanding general, 4-star general that helped us win that battle in the Pacific and in Europe as well. The library named after Speaker Jim Wright, who many of us know was the Speaker of the House of the U.S. House of Representatives, but before that he won the Distinguished Flying Cross. He gave his life in service, but he was also in World War II protecting us at that time. Speaking of giving his life, First Lieutenant Jack Knight, the building behind us named after him, winning the Congressional Medal of Honor, who literally gave his life in Burma in 1945 as he died protecting his men. Many men would have died that day without his heroism. And even here, more modern day, the Ed Kramer Veterans now connected with our college. The veterans of this nation have been such an important part of Weatherford College's history. And as we celebrate our 150th anniversary in the year 2019, the armed service is right in the middle of that. Thank you for your service. Thank you for what you have done, not only for our nation, but specifically for Weatherford College. God bless America. Thank you.
We will now have our posting of our colors by Bonnie Baker, Lieutenant Colonel, Army Nurse Corps, retired. Chamenda Entertaining, Army Specialist Combat Medic. And Noel Trujillo, Army Master Sergeant. We will now have the national anthem sung by Rob Laney, director of the Weatherford College Choir.
Please join with me in singing of our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I will now lead in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Doug Jefferson, will now play America the Beautiful.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above our polluted plains. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, then crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. America, America, don't you know God shed his grace on thee? Then he crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea, from sea to shining sea. From shining sea.
Thank you, Doug. We will now have the posting of the branch flags and the playing of the songs. First, we will have the Army. Army Specialist 4th Class Carter Savage. Army Private 2nd Class Doug Sergeant Tim Jacksons. Navy Master at Arms, 2nd Class, Clinton Miller. Army National Guard Specialist, 4th Class, Brandon Garwood. Coast Guard, Marine Corporal Delaney Garza, Marine Staff Sergeant John Brown. Air Force flag, Marine Corporal Robert Cook, Army Specialist 4th Class Danica Bruner. Marine flag, Marine Corporal Robert Cook, and Army Specialist, Al Cardona, and Marine Corporal Jeffrey Mears. We now have a very special guest with us today. This gentleman will come and speak to us. He flew in last night from California. His name is combat veteran David Serpa, Marine Corporal. David?
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here.
Thank you. When my mom named me combat veteran David Serpa, it didn't make a lot of sense for a long time. But then I went out and I got some, and I earned that first name. So I want to thank my mom. I'm just kidding. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the introduction. Hey, guys, I love Weatherford, Texas. This place is fantastic. Love it. Hey, you can clap for that. Weatherford, Texas. All right! And first off, it's fantastic seeing everybody out here today. It's quite something else coming to a junior college and seeing this type of support from the community, not just on a military level, but on a civilian level. And I think that that's something that we have to start blending those lines, and we have to start working together if we ever really want to see ourselves forward in the future. So it's nice to see, and of course, there's a lot of handsome gentlemen right here. Yeah, all your heads shut up at the same time. You guys know I'm talking about you. Get over it. You're looking good. What is this? Is it a football team? Baseball team. Fantastic. All right. Well, you're looking good there, baseball team. So I've got a little bit of something that I want to share with you guys here today. And it is very important to me to address several things. And I could tend to be a little bit long-winded, but I'll tell you what, we'll keep it interesting. So first and foremost, I think it's important for the veteran community to really understand that it's okay to heal. It's okay to take a moment and understand that you went through some rough things. We went through some rough things as a country. And unfortunately, we're still going through a lot of rough things. It's okay to heal. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to be successful. It's okay. In fact, it's great. Unfortunately, we have started fulfilling the prophecy that LA, that a lot of these people that don't understand veterans have been setting forth for us. Hollywood portrays us as a bunch of alcoholics that are out screaming at our wives and shooting guns in the air and killing ourselves. And unfortunately, when that is the image that keeps being put out there, it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we have to start taking time to heal. We have to start taking time to acknowledge that being a strong, silent type doesn't have to exist anymore. It takes courage to cry. In fact, I might cry like 3 or 4 times during this speech. I tend to be kind of an emotional man. When I started opening up with all these emotions, I'll tell you what, sometimes it just waterfalls, and it happens. So if I start bawling all over myself up here today, just understand that that's just part of who I am. It takes courage to say I'm hurting. I went from being in combat to 3 days later coming home and meeting my son. And if you think that that isn't a weird experience, I'll tell you some weird stories. I'm just kidding. It was rough. I went from being a machine gunner, foot mobile in Afghanistan, to 3 days later holding my newborn son, and it was a bizarre experience. But the problem that we face is that we alienate ourselves. We cut ourselves off from the world, we cut ourselves off from society, and then we start feeling weird anytime somebody walks up to us and says, "Thank you for your service," and that has to stop. It's time that we start redefining the conversation that we're having. There are fantastic groups, fantastic organizations out there talking about 22 too many. 22 veterans a day are killing themselves. 22 veterans a day. What you resist persists. Simon Sinek spoke at a college, or not spoke at a college, he spoke at Microsoft, and he spoke to the people at Apple. Now, Microsoft put out this wonderful thing, and he has this great speech on it about how it's a Zune. And of course, how many of you guys on this baseball team here are listening to your Zune after I get done talking? Nobody. Everyone's like, I don't even know what a Zune is. But it was the answer to the iPod, which is what Mac had. And he said the difference between Mac and Microsoft was Microsoft talked about beating Apple. They talked about beating Apple. They talked about beating Macintosh. Whereas Mac got up and they spoke about improving their community, improving their world, improving technology. And a lot more of us know what an iPod is today than know what a Zune is. What you resist persists. It's time to change the conversation. We have to stop talking about suicide. I know it sounds strange, but we have to stop talking about 22 veterans a day killing themselves. We have to stop romanticizing it as a culture. Every time that it happens, it's till Valhalla. Till Valhalla, brother. We lost another one we lost another good man to his demons. I have lost too many people to suicide. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. I would like to think that everybody out here doesn't want to do it anymore. We have too many good men that fought through a horrific war to come back and lose them to their own demons. And what we have to do is we have to start talking. We have to start talking. We have to start talking about winning. I got into real estate 4 years ago. I've sold over $90 million in real estate in the last 2 years. I was a veteran of the game at Dodger Stadium. It wasn't Astros Stadium, but it was Dodger Stadium. I had a great time. I've helped 100% of my team make over $100,000 that coach with me. I'm out there working. I'm trying to make the world a better place. I'm very involved in Operation Silver Star, which helps combat wounded veterans and their families returning back. But the point is, we have to start talking about winning. And we can't feel uncomfortable about it. Diana Beecham, who I'm going to talk about several times throughout the course of this speech, is just the most beautiful woman I've ever met in my life. She is the mother of Clayton Beecham, who is my good friend, Weatherford native that was killed in Afghanistan while we were out on patrol. And I'll tell you what, Weatherford, if you did nothing else but turn out Clayton Beecham, you did all right. We have to start You can clap for that. Clayton Beecham was a hell of a man. And he should be here, but he's not. And it's painful. And it's something that I'll have to deal with every day for the rest of my life. And I'll tell you what, August 7th rolls around, and then August 12th rolls around, which is a day that I lost another good friend of mine. And August 9th, Sky Moat. So the thing is, in the second week of August, I have 3 people that are very dear to me that have been killed, and it's rough. It will be rough forever. But we have to acknowledge it, and then we have to move on, and we have to start expecting better for ourselves. Because no one that died wants you to spend your entire lives mourning. So let's start repurposing our bodies for play. Grown men need to start playing more. Yes, thank you. We got to get down on our hands and knees with our kids, and we got to play. I had a huge Nerf war in my community. You think a bunch of kids didn't show up ready to shoot me in the eyeballs? Goodness gracious, it was a great time. It was fun. I get involved in my community. I play with my kids. The more time that we spend playing is the less time that we spend doing depression. We don't need to spend so much time depressed. Throw a 3-year-old in the air. See how long you can keep a smile from appearing on your face. There's something that we've done extraordinarily well. We've embraced the warrior ethos. We love Spartans. We love war. And we love quotes like the following one, which I am a big fan of. It is better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener at war. Ooh. I'm going to get a samurai tattooed on my back and let everybody know how bad I am. The point is, it's better to be a warrior in a garden, but you got to learn how to garden. You got to learn how to garden. You got to learn how to play. You got to learn how to get on your knees and hang out with your kids. You got to get involved with your community. You have to choose love. We spend so much time making decisions based on fear that it plagues us. These handcuffs that have been put on us that we woke up in our lives already wearing, we have to remove them and understand that the expectations of them to stay on us are not our own. Choose love. Choose love over fear and do it now. Every decision that you make throughout the course of your day, am I choosing love or am I choosing fear? I want to have Taco Bell for lunch. I love Taco Bell, but I'm afraid of diarrhea. That's not in my speech, believe it or not. I did not type out diarrhea. Okay. So the point is you want to start making more decisions based on what you want to do and not what you don't want to have happen to you. And part of the division that we need to start breaking down is the division between our branches. The division within our branches. I was a machine gunner, foot mobile, in the Marine Corps. Hell yeah. I am extraordinarily proud of being a machine gunner in the Marine Corps. But I'll tell you what, I'm proud of a lot of people. I'm proud of moms that sent their kids off to war. I'm proud of dads that did the same. I'm proud of wives that sent their husbands off. I'm proud of people that stayed back and held down the fort. Not all of us need to serve. That's okay. Some of us are hurt. It doesn't make you less of a person because you did not serve. It doesn't make you less of a person. But I'm also not going to take anything away from anyone that served. It's okay to be thanked for your service. That's something that I constantly see veterans saying, oh, don't thank me for my service. I hate it when people thank me for my service. Why? Why? Well, it's because we've lost the ability to be proud of what we've done. We've lost the ability to look deep and say, I am proud of the fact that I served in Afghanistan. I am proud of the fact that I brought a hell of a lot more people home than much of anyone expected to come home. I wish I could have brought a couple more home. But you know what? I'm still proud of the fact that I went. I'm not taking anything away from Clayton Beecham by saying that I'm proud that I came home. He had the courage to serve. And the second that I start taking 100% of the blame for his death, I start taking 100% of the credit for the extraordinary amount of courage that it took to sign up and put his feet on the yellow footprints. It's okay to say thank you for your service. Don't feel weird about it. It's okay to also make it your own. It's okay to say, I'm so glad you're here. It's okay to say, welcome home. It's okay to say, what did you do exactly in the military? Because I'll tell you what, there's one thing that veterans really love to do. we love to talk about what we did in the military. How do you know if a Marine was in the Marine Corps? Just wait 5 minutes, he'll tell you. So what did you do? What amazing things did you do? Welcome home. Thank you for serving. Thank you for making it possible for my children to grow up in a world where hopefully we stop getting shot at so damn much. Oops. Sorry about that. I slipped up a little bit. Hope you can forgive me. Say thank you. Say I'm glad you're here. But the thing is, we have to be comfortable being the torchbearers for the people that didn't make it home, or for the people that we lost along the way. It's an extraordinary burden to wake up every day and be a woman who lost her son. But you could spend the rest of your day and the rest of your life looking at that as an excuse for why you can't get out of bed, or you could look at it for a reason to get out of bed. And Jack Beecham and Diana Beecham are out there fighting the war every day. So instead of looking at this and saying, you have to, start thinking about it and saying, I get to. I get to spend the rest of my life telling people about Clayton Beecham. I get to spend the rest of my life telling people about Jeffrey Reber. And I get to spend the rest of my life telling people about Sky Moat. I'm a torchbearer. I get to. A lot of people told me, David, you've been through enough right after Clayton had been killed. You've been through enough, because I wanted to tell the Beechams, we hit it off immediately, and I wanted to tell them exactly what had happened, and I wanted to give them the answers that I felt like they deserved as parents of somebody that had lost somebody very dear to them. People said to me, why? Why do you want to do it? You don't have to do it. Have somebody else do it. And I said, you don't understand. I get to do it. I get to be the people that get to tell them what an amazing son they have. What an amazing son they have. Energy never stops. It just keeps going. It's just science. Clayton Beecham is out there. His energy is out there in the world. If you can't feel it here today, then you don't have the ability. You might want to get your feelers checked. I get to be a torchbearer. Diana gave me forgiveness, not because she had to, but because she got to. That's where grace kicks in. Jack sat with me this morning while I was writing this speech, and he just let me write, and he sat behind me while I had my headphones on, and I just took a moment. I just said, I love you, Jack Beecham. He said, I love you too, like a son. For a man that's lost his son to look me in the eyes and tell me, I love you like a son, you bet your freaking butt that meant the world to me. I get to look at these people like they're my family. That's where grace kicks in. That's where grace kicks in. That's the difference between I get to and I have to. Grace. And because of that, I've been able to meet extraordinarily people like Mr. Darren Sapp over here. Darren Sapp is telling a story about tons of people that have been killed in Iraq and Afghanistan. Men, women, white, black, Mexican, KIA, people that were killed accidentally. There's a whole lot of lives that were lost. There were a whole lot of lives that were lost. And we're not going to do anyone any services by being depressed about it. Be happy that such men lived. Be happy that such men lived, that such men walked the earth. Everyone wants to talk about changing the world, but no one wants to talk about changing themselves. You have to be the change that you wish to see in the world. I'm sick of seeing depressed people. I'm sick of seeing people that are doing depression, so I'm going to be happy. Come hell or high water, I'm going to be happy. Because I don't owe it to Clay to be depressed. And I also don't owe it to Clay to squeeze every ounce of this life dry. I don't have to go skydiving or bull riding. I just have to live my life. I just have to live my life. Thank you. Coming back from Afghanistan, I knew I had to get help. I went through therapy. I still go to therapy. The last couple of years have been a rough one. Last year, 2 years ago, was probably the roughest year of my life. I lost my father-in-law. I lost another friend to suicide. I went through a divorce, and I did some things that I was not happy about. And I'm going to tell you this because the fact is we have to stop looking at people like me like we're a hero, like we're above sinning, Like we're above making mistakes. I have done wrong. I will do wrong. There's nothing wrong with doing wrong. That's a Joe Pug song. It's okay to do wrong. It's okay to hurt. I questioned everything that I was as a person. I questioned everything that I was as a man. And do you know what I decided to do? Is I started reading. I started reading like a fanatic, because I'll tell you what, if you think you're unique, open a book. Dale Carnegie, We Are All Gods in the Chrysalis, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Cheryl Strayed says in Tiny Beautiful Things, we can all have a better life if we make one. The chrysalis is a difficult place to be. Everybody loves to talk about a butterfly flying out of that chrysalis, and they like to look at that thing and say, oh, look how beautiful, they turned into a butterfly. But I'll tell you what, the pain was in the darkness in that chrysalis, when bones were breaking and becoming deformed into something, and they were becoming wings, a body being repurposed. It's violent. It's extraordinarily painful. And I can tell you right now, I have spent time in my backyard by myself with no one around, crying for hours. That's where you heal. That's where you heal. When you get uncomfortable and you start crying and you start talking to people, I don't shut up. And a lot of people are like, hey, I got to get to class, David. Cut it down. But the bottom line is that we are all creating a masterpiece. What are you painting? Be intentional. What is your palette? What are you painting with? If you don't like the masterpiece that you're painting, it's time to start painting over it. Van Gogh painted over paint, over paint, over paint until it was perfect. I'm not going to stop painting until I leave this planet. I'm going to keep working on this masterpiece. And if I don't like the colors that I'm painting with, that's on me to change those colors. Bob Ross, that hippie, painting all over the place. Believe that you can do it because you can do it. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. You just got to believe it. There's a great child's book. It's called The Bad Seed. It recently came out. Who's read The Bad Seed? Just me? All right. It's a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. That's what that'll do for you. There's a seed, a sunflower seed, and he's very happy, and he's on a sunflower. And eventually, he falls off his sunflower, and he gets sucked up in this mechanical machine that puts him into this dark packaging. And then eventually, he gets opened up, and he gets chewed on, and he gets cracked and spit out in a ballpark. And then he gets swept up, and he goes on spending the rest of his life as a bad seed, really bad. The sunflower seed gets packaged, it gets spit out, it cracks its head, and the bottom line is, at the end of the story, he ends up saying thank you, and he ends up saying please, and he ends up being nice to people, and he says that even though that I was a bad seed, I can still be good. We have to stop being held hostage to our past. We never get to go back and be whole. We're always going to be that sunflower seed with the cracked head. We're always going to be that sunflower seed with the cracked head. And Cheryl Strayed says, she says in this article, How You Get Unstuck, page 58, she says, she's talking to a woman who's lost her child. And she says, you will never stop loving your daughter. You will never forget her. You will always know her name. But she will always be dead. Nobody can intervene and make that right, and nobody will. Nobody can take it back with silence or push it away with words. Nobody will protect you from your suffering. You can't cry it away or eat it away or starve it away or walk it away or punch it away or even therapy it away. It's just there. And you have to survive it. You have to endure it. You have to live through it and love it and move on and be better for it. And run as far as you can in the direction of your best and happiest dreams across the bridge that was built by your own desire to heal. Therapists and friends and other people who live on planet My Baby Died can help you along the way. But healing, the genuine healing, The actual real deal, down on your knees, in the mud change is entirely up to you. I never get to go back and be the guy that lost his friend, that didn't lose his friend to an IED. I never get to go back and be a child that wasn't brought up in Section 8 housing. I never get to go back and not spend Christmas in a woman's shelter with my mom and 2 sisters. I never get to go back and undo killing. It doesn't happen. But I can tell you right now, I'm a better man than the one that went into combat. That comes from work. It comes from reaching. Thank you, guys. I'm getting to my last page here, and I apologize for being long-winded, but I'm long-winded. How to be intentional. We can have a better life if we make one, right? That's all fine and dandy, but I'm in the suck of it. Life is hard. I can't get over this right now. Start with your breath. Start with breathing. You don't have to be a hippie and meditate like me every morning. You don't have to do any of that stuff. D. Whatever terrible things had happened to them in their life, whether it was a car accident, whether they were on the receiving end of terrible abuse, or whether it was you in combat. PTSD is something that is real, and what we have to start doing is we have to start redefining that conversation. It is not a disorder, right, Darren Sapp? Post-traumatic stress. Post-traumatic stress. Something has happened in your life. You are stressed out about it. After the fact, all of a sudden it doesn't sound that freaking scary. PTS, post-traumatic stress, kept me alive in combat. Not being able to sleep kept me alive in combat. Being weary of large crowds kept me alive in combat. Not breathing deeply kept me alive, just like it did in my childhood. We become extraordinarily good at keeping our lungs very short of breath because we spend our entire lives having to react to an extraordinarily aggressive world. But when you step out into the world as an adult, you realize there's not all these people trying to attack you anymore. And you take a deep breath. And then you stop reacting. And you start thinking, how do I want to be intentional? What do I want to paint? Who am I as a masterpiece? And that comes from breath. In understanding your body. Give love. Give it freely. It doesn't matter if who you are giving love to wants it. Give it to them anyway. I tell people all the time all the wonderful things that I love about them. I was in a coffee shop. I was visiting a friend of mine at Stanford. And there's this guy who walks in. He's just got fantastic arms, and he's in his 50s. And so I said, "You, sir, have fantastic arms." And he looks at me like, "All right. This guy's kind of a weirdo, but whatever." I said, you got to tell me the secret. How do you get arms like that? And he starts talking to me. You just got to do a little bit of something every day. You just have to do a little bit of something every day. And I got to learn that from just giving somebody a little bit of love. So when I tell you that I love you, I love everybody. And I love you, Weatherford. And I love you, Jack Beecham. And I love you, Diana Beecham. We have to start being less discretionary with how we throw out our love because we are not very discretionary in how we throw out our hate. Honking at somebody that cuts you off in traffic and flipping them the bird. Holy cow. Right? Brake checking somebody. We stop forgetting that people are struggling. People are hurting. Why not be the one that gives them some love? And I'll tell you what, that 22 number will start coming down pretty drastically. Give love. Give it freely. Give it to everyone that will take it from you. And some people are going to call you crazy when you start telling everybody that you love them. Some people are going to say that you're nuts I am nuts. What's so great about being sane if the expectation that comes with being sane is that I have to hate everybody around me? I have no part. I will have no part in me for hate. I have no room in me to look at a military spouse that supported her family while her husband was deployed and call her a dependopotamus. Right? I have no need to look at a civilian who didn't serve and look down at them for thanking me for my service. Did you serve? I didn't serve. That's okay. It takes all different kinds of people. And I'll tell you what, Weatherford, when Clayton Beecham was killed on August 7th of 2012, you showed up and you surrounded him in love. And you surrounded this family in love. And me in love. And if you don't do anything else right forever, which you do, you would get it right probably a lot more often than you get it wrong, Weatherford. But if you do nothing else for the next 30 years, thank you for surrounding my friend with love. Thank you for surrounding these beautiful people with love. I am extraordinarily grateful to you for it. And I hope that in some way I have been able to give you back some love today. Thank you very much. I appreciate you, and I love you, Weatherford.
Thank you, David. Now we will have Hunter Burt playing the bagpipes, and the wreath will be presented by Cheyenne Beecham, Navy Master at Arms, 3rd Class, and Don Harbor Navy Seaman. Thank you, Hunter. Tammy Peters now will come and present some special awards to the Gold Star families.
We have here place of honor for those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. As we read the names of our hometown soldiers, in your mind see these heroes and think of them. Navy Petty Officer 3rd Class Clayton Beecham. Army Private 1st Class Austin Staggs. Army Private 1st Class Joe Christopher Robinson. Army Staff Sergeant Jeffrey Hartley. Army Sergeant John Savage. Army National Guard Sergeant Anthony Mason. Army Private 1st Class Paul Bellant.
Every day and every night you walk the walk, you fight the fight.
Army Sergeant Curtis Oates. Marine Corporal James McRae. And Special Force Robert Deeks, U.S. Army 5th Special Forces.
Too many dead, your weary soul was crying hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Too late to help you hear a shot. You know you're in a deadly spot. You never thought the day would come, now did ya? Your brother falls down to the ground. The enemy is all around, and from your lips you scream a hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. You fought the fight till it was done. You have the strength to carry on. You thought it'd be much better back home, did ya? You try each day, keep pushing through, but the battle lives inside of you. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Now the program will be concluded by the playing of Taps by Jordan Sonny from the Weatherford College Jazz Band. thank you for coming. We appreciate each one of you, and that concludes the program. I changed so many things on that program. Sorry about that, Bill. I can do it now.
No. Please don't. Like all those